Hey, boy, I hope you can hear me. My goodness, what a mess. What a mess. I lost all audio there right before we went live. So I am I am definitely looking forward to hearing from you in the chat to make sure we're even doing anything here, or if I'm just talking to myself. So I'm an only child. I've done a lot of talking to myself over the years. So please let me know if the audio is good. I see that we made it to YouTube where Susan has chimed in over there. All right, cool. You hear me? Excellent. Thank you so much. Hello, Douglas. Um, Mary, I hope you feel better. She's got the flu. Hello, Nimbus. I will say, I don't even know where I got these, but in fact, they still have dust on them. I don't know where I originally got them, but I found them behind my dresser or my nightstand. And there's some cheater glasses. Oh, yeah, right? These are good. That's when you can tell. That's when, and we'll join Brad Staggs over at the WT Wednesday show over at thedailymojo.com. We're going to join him in just a few minutes. Coming up in less than an hour, Kimberly Overton, a nurse that was working in the hospitals during COVID. She will join us, and she's got a lot to say about her experience during that nasty, insane era and what she's doing now to help with healthcare for all of us, because my goodness, just 6 years ago, everything fell apart. And her perspective is unique. But what I started to say about the cheaters, this is when you can tell. This is when you can tell that that your regular glasses, it's time to get into the eye doctor. Is when you find cheaters, you go, oh my gosh, I can see again. Look at this. I mean, this is seriously. In fact, what does that say? Whereas they should be up close, and now stuff that's far away is clear that used to be fuzzy. That's not good. That's not a good sign. Hang on, I got to put this earbud in. Okay, yeah, I can hear Brad. So that's good. That's good. So just to recap what we do on the Wednesday wild card and whatnot. Hold on a second now. Hold on, Lep. What's 5x5? My audio is 5x5. I hope that's good. Don't throw math problems at me, because I don't know. Hi, did we just land on the? I didn't touch a thing. I'm sorry. I'm now appearing magically on the What the Wednesday show for Brad. Hey. Mm-hmm. Hey. Wednesday wildcard. Yeah, I don't know. You could whatever. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm sitting here. Sorry, I'm nodding along. Good. I guess I should put you on my show, on my feed. I'm just sitting here nodding along. Yeah. Yeah. Very.
No, it's okay. Look, at least you're not as whipped as Jerry O'Connell. Jerry O'Connell is now quitting podcasts after he went on Bill Maher and told everybody that his wife and daughter beat on him.
Wait, hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me give me a moment to catch up here, because I see the headline. Yeah. And not to continue the beating that Jerry O'Connell is apparently taking from the females in his life, but I don't know who he is. So
yeah, you do. He was on Sliders. He was.
I recognize him now. I see his face. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. He was Stand By Me with Will Wheaton and whomever else was in Stand By Me. He's been Sliders. He was really good. I like that show.
Oh, wait a minute. I see the subheading. Continue.
So he was at home. I guess this was on election night, and they were watching the elections. And when Kamala started to go, when Trump was, I probably should say it that way, when Trump was obviously winning, he made the comment, because he had been a big Kamala Harris supporter. He said, "Wow, we should have had a primary."
How dare he?
And because of that, his wife and family, he has daughters, and they became, quote, physical.
All right.
Which I think that means they beat him up.
Okay, so can I just ask a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
If you're attacked in public physically by a female, you have the right to fight back, yes?
Mm-hmm.
You can meet force with force. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It seems a little tricky if in your family.
He was overwhelmed. He had, I don't know how many daughters he has. He said his wife and their daughters, so there were at least 3 of them. So there are 2 daughters and a wife. They became physical with him after he criticized the Democrat Party's lack of planning on election night.
That's not even TDS, man. That's
weird, is what that is.
So weird. Yes.
And he did this on Bill Maher's program. You don't have right now that screen on.
I'm slow. Look, you joined early today, and so it threw me off, and now I don't even know how to push buttons.
Technically, this would be 2 minutes late, but that's all right. There. So now everybody can drink it in.
Hold on.
He is quitting podcast altogether after he went on Bill Maher.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you admit this? Is my question.
That's the thing. If you're that much of a cuck, just don't tell
So it was the right word. That we used to call it pussy whipped.
Just pathetic is what it is.
And now that's the new word. And and is he serious? Who knows? Is he really going to quit podcasts?
So he does a podcast.
He said he would go on to the
be a guest.
Pardon My Take podcast. Yes, he wouldn't be a guest on any more podcasts after that. He says he will do the fantasy football, but that's it.
Interesting.
Hang on a second. Wait a second. Hold on. Because he's married to what? Is it Ramjan? How do you say her last name?
Oh, Rebecca Romaine? No,
is that how you say it?
I don't see the name.
I mean, that's
just the closest name I could think of there when you said that.
But that's how is it Romijn? I've always put the J and the I.
I'm obsessed with our audio. I'm sorry. That's just the closest name. Okay.
Is it bad? Is it good?
No. Sounds good on my end. So
you sound fabulous over here.
That's all I care about. It sounds good on my stream. No,
Yep.
Sorry. I can go and check yours too if you want. You may do that, or do you want me to look at?
No, I do that. But Ed, well, hold on. If it sounds good, what are we going to do? Nothing. And if it sounds bad, what are we going to do?
Wait for the post audio when Wes gets in there.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Somebody else deal with it.
Let me see. How do you? I think that's Rebecca Romaine. I don't know.
I think for some reason I haven't seen the letters in her last name.
I just haven't seen the spelling of her name. If that's still her, I haven't seen her in 30 years. Yeah. There you go.
That's how you what? That's not how you spell Romaine. Romaine is spelled Romaine, as in Romaine lettuce.
Well, her nickname growing up was Lettuce, and that's how I remember.
It's a weird nickname, but I'll go with that.
No, I don't.
And
heard it pronounced that way. I don't know. I may be wrong.
No, I think you're right because I have too. I guess I never put the two together. And it's funny because it's right here on put this screen over there. You know, sometimes there's too much technology. We have too much opportunity, and there's too many ways to. Look, that worked. This is where did it go? Here we go. It's actually the other story that I wanted on Chelsea Handler down here because I hate the New York Post website.
Hang on. I'm just making sure because I just checked. Susan, you can hear Brad now. Yes, please.
You couldn't before?
No. I'm just making sure that she's not referring to minutes ago before we connected. So I'm making sure that now everything is fine. Right, Susan? I swear I'm going to spend the next 2 hours.
You know, here's the thing, that it looks really easy doing this, but it really isn't. I mean, it's easy in the sense that if this was 1978, we'd be in a rocket, but this is not easy. Doing what we do is not, especially the way we're doing it, because I was talking to producer Ron this morning, and I said, it's amazing that we can get this done because the way we're doing it, you shouldn't be able to do this. And we are going to be considered pioneers in the broadcast industry.
Yes.
They're going to look back on us. They're going to those two guys who, and people gave them shit all the time because the audio wasn't right. And you know what? They can all kiss our ass because we're going to be famous one day, and we're going to be we'll be in the encyclopedia.
No, we won't. Is Philo T. Farnsworth in the encyclopedia for inventing television?
He might be. I'm glad you said that. because this business, Edwin Armstrong. Did I talk to you about him?
Sorry, I'm distracted by the ad that's playing on your feed there. Why don't you hit that X for me there? I'd like to drink whatever they're drinking. Oh, Denver. Okay. That's good for drugs.
Oh, Denver. There's a story out of Denver. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Sorry. But
continue.
It's a dam. It's a damn story out of Denver. But Edwin Armstrong was the guy who invented FM radio. And I was reading about him the other day in the 1930s, 1940s. He invented FM radio. AM radio was a big deal. Television was coming on the scene, and RCA, the Radio Corporation of America, had all of these interests in AM radio and television. Edwin Armstrong comes along and he's like, hey, we got this FM thing that we can do now. And originally the station numbers were like lower. They were like 55 to 80, whatever. That's too far off in the weeds. But they change a few things around. FM starts sounding really good, and he gets a patent for all of his stuff. He offers to sell it to RCA, and RCA is like, no. And they sue him, saying that they keep him in court. They keep him tied up in court because FM radio sounded better than AM radio and was considered a competitor to television. So this corporation just kept suing Edwin Armstrong, the guy who invented the damn thing, and sued him until to the point the guy had sold a bunch of his stuff to cover all of his legal costs. One day in New York City, climbs out on the balcony of his 13th floor apartment and nosedives down. They find him with a third floor balcony.
What a loser. He couldn't even make it all the way to the bottom.
That's what I
like your last act is to land on the ground below and you hit the third floor and stop there. That sucks. Edwin Armstrong is like, to put it into more modern terms, he's kind of like the ivermectin, and RCA is the Dr. Fauci and Pfizer and whatnot.
Yes.
Now,
exactly. This stuff has been going on forever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so before you get any further down the road, just do me one favor. Open up yourself a Google tab and type in West Virginia. We've done this before, I know. I just can't remember.
Mountain Mama?
No, West Virginia radio and Loomis, Loomis. Get ready to be
Loomis.
Yeah, let's see. What do you got here? Look at that, huh? Click on that fella there. Pioneer Radio, the second one down. Or that guy.
Second one down.
It doesn't matter. Wikipedia, I couldn't tell that.
Same one.
Whatever. Click on one of them. Dude invented.
Which one do you want? I'm going to click on this one.
Before the Civil War.
Let's see. You got it.
Before the Civil War,
what
invented
did
radio.
Malon? What's his name?
Yeah, sure.
Malin.
Malin. Sure. I don't.
Malin.
I don't know.
American dentist. You should have known that a dentist would have invented radio, because it's so painful.
Oh, because he's implanting radio stations in your teeth. It all started in the 1850s. What year did he invent radio? I got to get my.
Wait a second. 1826. He was alive from 1826 to 1886. He is was an American dentist. Did you know I played a dentist in a student film once? So I do have some credibility, and I feel like I'm in the same company of another professional, just so you know. He was known for proposing a wireless communication and electric power generating system based on his idea that there was electricity charged layers in the earth. Was he related to Tesla? Is it zero point energy?
Honestly,
right?
As you're reading about this genius, it's almost like you guys are the same person. You've lived very similar lives. You both were dentists.
Look at his face.
You're both pioneers with radio broadcasting, and you're both geniuses, obviously.
Good looking. He's a good looking man. Look at that. He's a good looking man. I mean, you take away the mutton chops, and he could walk out of 2017 right now.
Yep.
His theory was that the Earth's upper atmosphere was divided into discrete voltage layers rising from zero at ground level to higher voltage with altitude, and that these could be tapped using kites. He stole that from Benjamin. I was going to say Benjamin Harrison. Benjamin Franklin.
Tap that cloud.
Too damn many Benjamins. Thank you. And that these could be tapped using kites fitted with metallic screen conductors and 600-foot-long copper cords flying high above the hills and mountains. Wait a second. This sounds like HARP.
Oh, dang. Sorry, I'm in severe pain right now. Just give me one moment here. I just cracked my surgically repaired elbow on the wall behind me because that's what you do when you're a dumbass.
At least you didn't sit on your balls. I mean,
not that I would ever admit.
I'm good. Thank you.
Is that how they got Mickey Mouse's voice? Like the animator guy sat down and he's like, okay, so we're going to do the Mickey Mouse voice. We're just playing with some ideas on what we should. Do that one. Do that. That sounds good. And you didn't realize, dude. It's
that one.
Okay.
Hold on a minute. Wait a second.
I got to get into character.
You reminded me of a different. I didn't say she was crazy.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm distracting you. That's what friends do.
No, you're not. It's okay because people have come to expect absolutely nothing from this program, which is the beauty of it. I mean, at some point it'll be on one of the. If we still had America's funniest, stupidest lousiest home videos, we'd be on it.
Yeah.
All right. So this guy.
Harp.
Yes. Did you say cloud or clown?
I don't know. Did they have clowns back in the 1850s?
They did, actually. They were killer clowns.
In the 1850s?
Really kind of frightening. Yeah.
I forgot the P before we started broadcasting.
Sucks getting old, doesn't it?
Was that out loud? Oh, damn, bro.
You have to get up a lot in the middle of the night. Have you considered Prostatex? All right, he claimed in 1868 he sent wireless telegraphic transmissions between two Virginia hilltops, 18 miles apart, using apparatus based on his theories. Historians' takes on what he actually did range from his claim being unproven to theories that he may have inadvertently sent electromagnetic wave or radio signals between the two hilltops.
Yeah.
Despite his impractical ideas about atmospheric electrical charges.
Can I just stop?
So was he just sending an AM radio signal?
Wireless communications. I think it was AM, yes. But can I just say that there's not many shows, especially it's even more scoped down when you're talking about simulcast shows that use the word apparatus.
That's true. I'm on a campaign. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm on a campaign to bring back the word apparatus.
Is that
Just so you know.
Okay.
As part of his dentistry practice, Loomis also developed a process for making dentures entirely out of porcelain. Well, okay.
Now he's smart.
Then, is he like Elon Musk?
I don't know, but I just did the dentist show about a month ago, and we were talking about fillings and stuff, and you never want to get the metal. I think that's what I learned. Go back and watch
the
mercury and the metal
amalgams, the silver ones.
Silver.
That's what Hillary had all. Remember her? Hillary had all of hers taken out, didn't she?
That sounds like something she would do.
No, she did. And she.
No, it does. I don't know for a fact, but it sounds like something she. I think
she did. Well, because the mercury in there in the fillings causes all kinds of crap to go wrong with your brain.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm not saying she has things wrong with her brain.
Oh, no,
I'm just saying that's what it does.
But seriously, your body is connected to the teeth. We learned in that show about a month ago with the dentist that went through just one tooth connect, like that's part of this part of the body, and this one is.
Are you saying that the tooth bone is connected to the jawbone? And then the jawbone there is connected to the skull bone, and the skull bone is. Then we got down through all these cervixes and the lumbars.
Why does my phone always autocorrect to dumb shit? Like fillings, I don't want to say filings.
I have never once, by the way, said ducking.
Yeah, thank you.
Not in a text.
No.
So this guy used it. This guy, what are you drinking?
Coffee. I got to pee though, and this is stupid. What am I doing? Continue. I'm sorry.
So he used the kites and the gilt-covered balloons. I'm working on a line. There has to be something that was full of gilt, and it's a different kind of gilt. But anyway, his notebooks included illustrations of ideas for using elevated open flames. So wait a second, did they come along after he died and then steal all of his notes like they did with Tesla?
Right. I just know you know what? The only thing, if you do an image search for him, he was into donkey. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. If you do an image search, the only thing you'll see is a roadside sign in the middle of nowhere there in West Virginia, and that's it. I mean, the guy gets no credit.
He died in Terra Alta, West Virginia. He died when he was 60.
Oh, probably a lot of radio waves and whatnot.
He did all this stuff before he was 60.
When did he die?
In 1886.
Oh, that sucks.
But that's like the wife of the dude who invented the X-ray. Like, he invented it.
I know who you're talking about.
He discovered it.
Yeah.
What was his name?
But it's
X-ray
a chick. The chick doesn't get enough credit for doing the X-ray.
I know he grabs his wife all the time. Sit down.
No.
I'm going to take an X-ray.
Yeah, but she was really smart. Just look up like.
Was she?
Yes, female X-ray chick inventor.
Wilhelm Röntgen, right?
That's not who I'm talking about. Nah, there's somebody else. There's some chick inventor.
Yeah, no, that's it. Anna Bertha Ludwig.
No, that's not who I'm thinking of. Chick X-ray inventor.
Hold on. Chick.
Yeah.
X-ray.
Over in France or something.
Inventor.
Yeah. What's her name? No, not. No.
Okay, I wrote chick X-ray, and it came up with what did I just say her name was?
I don't know. That's not
Elizabeth Fleischman.
No.
Who are you thinking of?
I'll find it. It's some like.
All right, the first images, but Elizabeth Fleischman Eshcom. Röntgen is the inventor. Other researchers like Elizabeth Fleischman.
Marie Curie.
And
yeah,
she brought her name.
Yeah, Anne Marie Curie or
Madame Curie.
Madame Curie. That's what I couldn't think of. Like I wanted to say lady. Hey, Hillary says she never had any mercury fillings.
She was a Polish-French physicist and chemist. I remember.
Yeah, and she didn't get enough credit. You know what I mean? Like she would teach classes and stuff, and I don't know. The end.
She was a sturdy woman.
Was she?
She was.
Okay.
I mean, she may have needed a little makeover, but
she looks pissed right there. That's probably.
They all look pissed.
Yeah, you got to sit still for those pictures back then. No
for
smiling.
Like 3 hours, right?
What if you just smiled for 3? Could somebody not hold a smile for 3 hours?
Is that asking so damn much? I mean, seriously, people. Now, here is the.
She's going to live forever.
She didn't know that. They didn't believe this stuff would last till the end of the day. Now, you're welcome, because as soon as you brought up the voice of sitting on your balls, I thought of this guy in the wheelchair. Don't laugh, because he's in a wheelchair. If you laugh, you're a racist. And so he's zipping to do along the, I think he's in, it doesn't matter where he is. He's on a street.
Right. So this is the Bradley challenge. No laughing. Right?
No laughing.
Everybody can play at home. No laughing.
This is man versus robot. Man versus
robot. As a delivery bot allegedly goes rogue. The street fight was waged between a robot delivering food and a guy on a mobility scooter. The video is going viral.
A disabled man on a scooter encounters a robot that he says is repeatedly cutting him off.
Quack, quack.
Then the man and robot collide.
Ouch.
I spoke to Mark Cheney, the human whose street battle with the robot has gotten 25 million views on social media.
I tried to go right and it went right. Then I tried to overtake it on the left and then it kept going. So I kept going.
Don't you laugh, you racist son of a...
Is this what Robert Kennedy sounded like when he was 4?
Forward, it slammed on the brakes. I hit it and then it backed up into me.
Oh, wait, hold on. Stop. The robot cart backed into him like it was like road rage time for the robot cart. It was trying to make a point.
I don't know, because I wasn't there, exactly what happened, but it sure looks to me like whoever is joysticking the robot back at headquarters.
Oh, you think that's what's happening?
Yeah, you need to buy a better microphone. Hang on a second.
What happened?
You just started yelling and your microphone didn't like that.
Oh, let me fix that. I'll fix that right now. Over here.
Beat the snot out of that thing.
Hang on, I'm just gonna keep yelling.
Keep it in the ass.
Hey, is this better?
I say keep it. Yes.
Check.
Actually, that is.
All right,
much
good. Sorry
better.
about that. I apologize for
No. That's what a friend does. As a friend, if you have lettuce on your face somewhere, a friend says, "Hey, you got some lettuce on your face." Yeah. They don't just let you go on with lettuce on your face.
This is a sandbox, see? And the people, the early investors here, which, by the way, I've got a lot of thank yous that I want to get out there at some point. But thank y'all for the donations. One day, 5 years from now, when everything's perfect and it's crystal clear and blah, 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 you're going to say, I remember when that audio sucked ass.
Yeah. And remember, that was back when Brad was alive. It was horrible.
No.
That horrible accident with the kangaroo and the wheelchair and he was a midget, right? He was a midget and the kangaroo in the wheelchair. It was really, no one saw that coming. I can tell you that.
Where I found plenty of the robots loaded with food and out for delivery. Let's see what happens when I stand in front of it. It seems to see me. Now I'll step back. The robot blinks its eyes at me and off it goes. Some online comments accuse Cheney, a Los Angeles therapist, of actually
OMG. He's a therapist. Can you imagine? Go ahead and sit on the couch. Tell me all your problems.
staging the crash, which he denies. What do you want to say to people who would claim you're doing this on purpose or you made this happen?
Well, the first thing is, I can't control the robot.
That is Mickey Mouse. That came full circle.
Who did you think it was? Of course it is. It has to be. It actually does kind of look like the streets of Anaheim. That may be Mickey out there on his lunch break.
Right.
Not very many people know that he's in a wheelchair.
Restaurants in many cities across the USA are increasingly using these robot carts to deliver.
Yeah, and the rest of it, whatever. But now you laughed. You're now a racist.
I didn't laugh.
Congratulations.
I mocked. I didn't
You
laugh.
did. I watched you. I saw you. You
I
laughed.
smiled because I thought somebody in 1868 was taking my picture.
That's not what you were doing. But that's okay. All right, I've got to figure out how I can go over here and look at, because I feel like I've ignored people in the comments. And usually I have.
Yeah, I'm usually the one that ignores people in the comments. That's my job.
I usually have the ability to get over and look at people in the comments, but today this has been very challenging. It's been a very challenging day for me today, so.
Wait, hold on. No, time out. First of all, get the stupid video off the screen. I want to see you because, this sounds like a serious moment in your life and we need to address this.
Hold on a second. I got to figure out that. Usually it's just a button push away.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. There we go. I can do it my damn self. I forgot. There's too many. I still have to pee.
I know. I thank you. It's
you tell me. I've got 30 minutes before my guest arrives. You tell me when it's a good time for me to go pee.
All right. Hang on a second. Where in the hell is that other schmindingle? Where is it? Where is the other schmindingle?
Can you spell
It's
that?
not.
Why don't you spell that?
Schmind. Okay. You go ahead. You go pee.
I will miss you.
You go pee.
I'll be fast. I'll be fast.
Will.
Poor planning.
All right.
Sorry.
I just wish I knew how to watch out for errant food carts. Wisconsin Jackhole, Lat 86, Original Babe. I would say hi to anybody over on Keith's stream, but I can't see his stream, and especially now I don't want to see his stream. And thank you. Yes, it was Madam Curie. Hey, this robot called me a asshole. Nothing beats an Ed 209, except for an Ed 210. If you can get your hands on an Ed 210, that is. Otherwise it's kind of tough. The whole Afroman.
Hang on,
I can't tell you.
Whew, now I can
the
drink this.
Afroman. If you missed it this morning, the Afroman controversy is beyond amazing. Oh, hold on a second. I've got to come up here.
Sorry. Now I can drink without having a panic attack.
Right, Grandpa.
All right, so Afroman, right? So I've seen headlines yesterday and today. You sent me a video. Am I putting you on the screen?
Did you watch any of it?
Oh yeah, but I don't know I don't know why it's at trial.
Okay, so What don't you know?
What's with Inside Edition, lady?
I'm trying to get rid of her. I was trying to just get rid of her and just have it be something else, but it won't. It won't go away.
Hold on. So hold on a second. I want to point this out. We can sync our shows, and we can talk at the same time, be on camera at the same time. But when it comes to just taking a video off,
something away, yes, you'd think it'd be easier, but it's not. Let's see if that goes away. No, that's just man versus robot. I don't know.
No, it's Mickey versus robot. Sorry.
That's true. Sorry. Huh? I'd hate for that to happen to somebody like that. All right, so the Afroman story. Why? Now I'm sick of her. I want her to go away. Hang on a second. I think I see the thing. I do. Look at that. Hold on. And take two. There we go.
Should I take her off?
And it's no longer the Daily Tea mojo. So Afroman in 2022, the sheriff's up where he lives in Adams, Ohio, I think it's the name. Somewhere through there.
Why does Afroman
they get a tip. Why does he what?
Why does he live there?
You'd have to ask Afroman.
Afroman could live at the beach, but continue. I'm sorry.
All right. So the sheriff's department, they go and they raid Afroman's house. And for those of you who don't know who Afroman is, he, of course, I can't.
What did I do
if
now?
It's on your live stream. You'll get all panicked because you'll think that you can't play it.
Because it's my fault. It's always me, huh?
Yeah, it kind of is. I don't know where it is anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So anyway, they raid his. Look what they did to Nick Shirley, by the way. All of his, the video where he was exposing California fraud. They yanked it from YouTube.
Why'd they do that?
No, because you're not looking.
Well, that's because I'm trying to figure out where this audio is coming from my new phone. I'm retarded. Where am I going?
Yeah, just looking at the screen, that'd be the thing in front of you.
Okay. Yeah, video unavailable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's part of what this trial is all about. Yeah.
No. This is Nick Shirley.
I know, but they're doing this. But you're actually you don't realize it. You're such a genius, a low key genius, that this is actually bringing it into the lake through the boat ramp, and you may not even realize it because you're that you're the master of segues.
I am going through the tunnel under the lake.
Okay, so they're taking.
That comes up right next to the boat ramp. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So anyway, they go to Afroman's house and they kick down the door and they go searching his house for a kidnapped victim and drugs because he's dealing drugs. They just know it because a confidential informant told them that he's dealing drugs. And they go in and they don't find any drugs. Well, they find a little bit of pot and no kidnapped victim, just Afroman's wife who's been at home and who starts videotaping the sheriff's department busting into their house, breaking their gate and breaking their door and leaving a general mess and almost eating his pound cake.
Wait, time out. First of all, we know for a fact they weren't role playing like, oh, I'm kidnapped. No. So there was no kidnapping, nothing even close to it.
No, there was no hostage there.
So where does the pound cake come into it?
Well, the pound cake, I will, if you'd like to see, I will show you where the pound cake comes in because this is pretty amazing. My technology has to catch up with me here. Sorry.
My bad.
It's not you.
Lemon pound cake?
No, it's not you. Lemon pound cake. This is Afroman. The sheriff's department was pissed that he put this song together and put it out there. They were pissed because he then wrote another song. I think it was called "Lick 'Em Low Liz" or "Lick 'Em Low Lisa," and apparently there was one of the deputies there that I don't know what her persuasion was, but in the video it would seem that she may have had lesbian proclivities. And so he wrote this song and he put the song together and it was actually it's not a bad little song.
No.
It's not. Oh, believe me, when the big one that really hit hard was Randy Walters is a son of a bitch.
Oh, I like that song. That was good. That's the one you sent me, right?
Did you hear that one?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one that I sent you. We did. We recorded a different version of it. I don't think I can show that to you. I might be able to, though. Hang on a second. Hang on just a second. Aha, there it is.
Take your
Can
time.
you see? Can you see that?
Oh, sorry. I'm still trying to figure out where this audio is coming from. I feel like it's in my head now. Are you
What
sending
audio?
me, Havana syndrome type stuff through your setup there?
I'm always doing that.
What I see
There's
is
always.
just your Afroman library and all of those tabs that you probably don't want showing to everybody. I'm kidding.
Oh, those tabs. Damn it.
No, what am I supposed to be seeing right now?
Well, I don't know that you can. I don't know how I can show. Well, you can see it up there on the on my feed.
Oh, so you're leaving my
But
audience out of it. Oh, that's nice of you.
I'm trying to figure out how to make this happen because it's the revised version of Afroman. Because I did cut a couple of words out simply because I didn't.
Just keep telling
yourself. Not that I didn't want to offend anybody.
We're
I just didn't want. I didn't want to get the explicit rating on the particular episode, and so I was trying to be business savvy.
Before today, had you ever heard of that Loomis fella with the radio stuff?
No.
Before today, most people probably hadn't heard of that Armstrong guy that tossed himself off a building either, Mr. TV, right? Or FM radio. I'm sorry, FM radio.
Mr. FM radio.
Philo T. Farnsworth. A lot of people don't know about him. That farmer who invented TV. Why do I feel like
didn't know about him.
Brad and Keith are gonna be with Armstrong, Loomis, and Farnsworth? Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue. With
but I thought you were going to say, but a number of people were familiar with Afroman because he did. He was going to go to school, but then he got high. And then he also gave us the fabulous hit, the one about Hunter. Of the original where he gets high. Okay. I didn't know that there was a really explicit one. But then again, the one that
until I found out the hard way. Two of my kids got to do a couple of lyrics before I could sprint to the damn phone.
Surprise. Now did you watch any of the trial?
No, just the clip you sent me. The guy talking about his wife.
Now, I'm not going to say that seemed a little odd.
Well, I know what he's doing.
The way
I know what this guy's doing.
What guy's doing?
The cop guy or the sheriff or whoever the hell.
What is he doing?
He's trying to make it seem like, and I assume this is just here's my deep analysis of this clip. Considering I have not seen any of the trial except for this clip.
Me either. Nor have I.
Probably trying to leave it out there that he's being defamed, so he can't say yay or nay. He's got to leave it out there for the jury to decide, whatever.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I do. Now, for those of you unaware, this is the latest song that Afroman put out was, what I say it was, whatever it was, is an SOB, and then in the lyrics that you'll have to listen to for yourself. He says, so I effed his wife and got rich. And so the attorney is asking the deputy on the stand, well, are you saying that Afroman had sex with your wife or didn't? Which I thought was a pretty clear-cut question, and you should be able to answer that one. I mean, I could answer that. Could you not answer that question pretty right out?
Not if I'm trying to take Afroman for whatever money he made off of that video there on YouTube.
All right, let's see here.
So you're claiming that is the defamation statement is that he said he had sex with your wife?
Yes.
Okay. And that's painted you in a false light?
It's caused tremendous pain in my life.
I'll get to that. We have to go through false light first. So does it paint you in a false light?
Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman.
But we all know that's not true, correct?
I don't know.
I hadn't even... Wow.
Because he can't say, no, it's not true. Well, then how can he be causing you pain? You know it's not true, blah, blah, blah.
Right. I had not considered that.
He's got to leave that doubt out there for people to assume the worst, and therefore he can take and make bank off of this.
He's got to throw his wife under the bus for money. Is what he's got to do.
Wait, you don't know if your wife's cheating on you or not?
You want to go there?
No, I just want to ask that question because you said we don't know. I just
Been with that woman since middle school.
I know.
I would hope she wouldn't. But you know what? Once somebody puts it out there for their fun and entertainment, it's...
Now, wait a second. When he says once somebody puts it out there for the fun and entertainment, is he talking about Afroman or his wife?
The claim.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was just trying to make sure. I didn't want to make any assumptions.
And it's a problem.
So it's something we cannot verify the truth of?
Good call.
Is this his
thing that can be?
Is this Afroman's attorney questioning him?
It must be. This must be cross. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's why
it has to be
playing coy.
So that's why he would. Okay, so that's why that makes, because I could not figure out for the life of me why you wouldn't just say no. He's not. Yeah. She's not cheating on me with him.
What's Afroman's net worth? Because these things we know are always correct. It says internet says I'm worth 42 million, 46 million, right? What is Afroman's net worth?
How much is Afroman worth? In
lower millions, whatever that means. Lower, just show me.
Booking fees for his performances often start in the range of $25,000 to $40,000.
Right. Okay, but it says low millions. So in other words, he's not up to Keith Malinak of the Malinak Media Group.
Yeah, no, he's nowhere near. He's nowhere near your status in life. That is not even. That is not even close. That's not even. We don't even discuss the two names in the same.
Thank you.
In the same breath, it does on the richest. It says he has a worth of $4 to $6 million. According to the Sun, his net worth is estimated to be $100,000. So it could be an approximate forecast of his worth, according to whatever the hell this website is, anywhere between $307,000 and $406,000. So it's all over the place. His house didn't look too bad. He looks like he lives in a suburban neighborhood up in Ohio. And he looks kind of middle class.
I figured out where
like the rest of us.
Where that audio's coming from.
Where?
It's your live studio audience murmuring in the background there.
Oh, it's the Dirty Turtle Bar and Grill down the way. We do have a camera in there. The camera has been broken for some time, but the microphone still works.
Well, tell me about.
And we had.
What's the fare like in the Dirty Turtle Bar and Grill? What are they?
It's an old English tavern style bar and grill, and it's greasy. You can still smoke there, I think. It's that good. Now the Splooting Squirrel is a little higher on the class level.
The who?
The Splooting Squirrel. That's the other. It just opened, I think, within the last 6 months. Are you not familiar with the Splooting Squirrel?
No, sir.
Are you not familiar with the squirrel splooting?
No, I'm afraid to follow up. See, we're getting close to where my guest may tune in. I don't know how much I want to be setting you up here.
I will. Let me just show you a picture.
Oh, no. I will
show you a picture of a splooting squirrel. Is that fair?
Okay.
Here you go. This is a splooting. I'm surprised you didn't know this. There is a splooting squirrel.
Cool. Wait, what?
What?
There we go. Sorry. All right. I like it. Gosh, man.
It gets hot, and you'll see a lot of animals do this. It cools off their undercarriage.
Yeah.
That's important. You don't want to have a hot, sweaty undercarriage. Not in this weather.
No.
It's bad for you. So the bottom line is I am on Afroman's side.
Yeah.
And he got wronged.
It's free speech after the police kicked in his frickin' door for no good reason.
Right. I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea and why they thought that taking it to court was a good idea.
Right. This is insanity. Who swatted him in the first place? Do we know that?
All it said was it was a CI, a confidential informant that handed them a tip. And somebody brought up a good point in the chat room this morning that it was probably somebody getting some time off their sentence if they gave some solid info to the Popo.
Okay.
And it turned out that the Popo didn't get the solid info.
But hang on.
They got the shaft.
I like that. So
you're welcome.
You know what it might have been? It might have been a woman scorned. It might have been that deputy's wife.
Ooh. It could have been. I hadn't thought about this either. The fact that, Afroman is married. His wife was home at the time of the kickdown. Yep. And then he puts out the video. You're a SOB and I effed your wife.
I'm telling you. Have we brought her in for questioning? The wife?
No. Well, I don't believe. I just learned about this morning.
Was she on the stand yet? Do we know?
Do not know. It's an ongoing trial, and all I can say is it's better so far, just with the clips that I've seen, than Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Oh yeah,
that was a good one.
She pooped on the bed, Brad.
Yeah, and what was Amber Heard sniffing and snorting every time? She would go out and then she'd come back in and she'd be sniffing something, and there was something on her nose.
Right. That's like the only current event that my kids kept closer tabs on than I did. They were telling me things during that trial. I'm like, what? Where are you getting this free time? Must I give you more things to do? More chores around the house?
I see a lawn that needs mowing. I see floors that need cleaning, and I don't know how you were doing this.
Right, and you can tell me the intricate details of their bedroom and how many times a day she goes to the bathroom. It's like, what? My kids, I'm ashamed that you know this information.
Something's wrong.
What am I doing?
I just saw this.
Can we put this on the screen there? I got to get my...
You can if you want to. Profoundly shocking allegation. I just saw this pop up. Profoundly shocking allegations against Cesar Chavez sparked soul-searching movement.
Oh, you know what?
What happened?
I saw that yesterday. I started to scroll through it thinking, yes, he's a racist according to your terms.
Why is someone who's tearing him down?
But then just as I was scrolling through and expecting to find those old charges of things that he has said, that whatever. I just as I closed the article, I saw something about children, and I was like, "Oh wait, whoa!" And then I said, "I got other things to do." So it's something about kids, I think. I don't know. Check it. Scroll down. Let's find out.
Bursting in.
I really don't know. That shows you how much I care about Cesar.
Claims against. Well, Cesar Chavez was a. Here's the thing. He did not like the illegals.
That's what I'm saying. And so now I assumed that it was people that don't like ICE that were like, hey, let's go and stop changing and let's go change all the names back on the roads that are now Cesar Chavez Boulevard.
Yeah.
Because of that, because of immigrant stuff. And then I saw something about kids or something, and I was like, okay, allegations that very young women or girls may have been victimized are crushing. See, I don't know what this is. I have no idea.
Well, they're trying to tear him down apparently because he would have been.
Oh yeah.
He would have been out there with ICE.
With Greg Bavino.
Get the hell out.
Yeah, he would have been
helping because they were taking jobs away from his dudes. Canceling events, Chavez Tower national figure, joined the grape picker strike in remember the big grape picker strike of 1965? Remember how much trouble that caused? I mean, you couldn't find a grape anywhere in the streets of LA. It was horrible. With people wandering around with Grapo.
How did America make
it no
through the 60s? I mean, the civil unrest and the war overseas, that's a backseat thing. You couldn't find a grape to save your life. And it's
horrible.
What a strong generation to power through.
I know. When you can't find a grape, it's tough.
we got assassinations. And there's one of them right there that fell victim to that. The Vietnam War, you name it was happening. But I've never really put the grape shortage into proper perspective.
That's because we weren't taught the right history.
That's right. They don't
The
put
things that we were taught.
this history book right here.
They lied.
There's a lot that happened here.
It's a bunch of lies.
In America.
It's a bunch of lies.
But I don't
Nothing
see
but lies.
The grape strike of
the great shortage of 1965. They were tough times, which is why Americans are considered some of the tougher people, because they powered right through the great grape shortage. It was tough. I tell you, it was tough. Now, I was only a year old, so all I heard was stories, passed down from the elders around the fire as we were sitting in the smoke lodge. Because back then you could bring the kids into the smoke lodge and people didn't lose their crap over that.
Were you
I'm trying to be
clothed?
polite because when you're a baby, sometimes you run around naked. I may or may not have been fully clothed. At a
filling
year
out
old. Now,
I see an advertisement there. I know you're not into sports. You filling out a bracket?
I am not filling out a bracket. Actually, are we the March Madness, right? When do we get April craziness? I love March Madness. You can't tear me away from the soccer field during March Madness. It's amazing. I love to watch the touchdowns. I mean, they're flying across the goal. It's amazing.
The half-court touchdowns?
Oh, and some said it couldn't be done. And the first dude to do that, the guy that did that first, he was the first guy. And
awesome.
He's left a legacy that will surely be decades before anybody comes even close.
Well, the guy you're talking about is Cesar Chavez, and the problem is about Cesar Chavez is now his legacy, of course, being
tainted.
Visited because of
I say tainted.
Who's alligating? I swear, help me. You would think that there was something in this cup besides coffee. Who's alligating?
I'm glad I'm done.
Who's alleging these? Do we know? We don't care about this article enough, do we?
Stupid people. It does not. It does not say.
What's that Epstein headline? What's that say?
That's a Missouri pastor suspended after the church learns that she managed Epstein's private.
Wait, she managed his island? What now?
Who dares let women be pastors? Am I right? What kind of crazy is that? This is the problem when you have women pastors. They end up managing private islands somewhere. I don't know. The one thing I do know is that the Epstein files have not exactly pointed for the Democrats the way they wanted them to point.
Yeah.
It's been a big disappointment to the, I don't know if it's been a big disappointment to Jasmine Crockett or not. That's been a fustercluck.
Well, I mean, that'll happen when you redact half of them before you release them.
That's a good point. And who just got subpoenaed? Bondi, right?
Yeah.
Did she just
Yep.
get?
Yep. But she better hope
Jane
that
Comer.
the Dow is above 50,000 before she has to testify again. Because see,
Hold on a second. Let me put it out over here. Right there, James Comer has subpoenaed the Attorney General over the Epstein files. It is crazy. I don't know what's happening. I have no idea. And there's nothing left. I think we've squoze every last drop out of the Epstein files that there is.
like the alligator.
It's possible that there were some errant alligators running around and doing that, because it's horrible when that happens. But there's nothing. What else, if there was anything else in the Epstein files, would we not have by now seen it? If there
Britain
was
sure is
anything.
going forward with charges. There's some people being held to account over there. Not for the pedophilia, though.
What? Just the embarrassment, right?
Well, the dirty deals that they're giving inside information, classified information to Epstein, so he can go and make some cash on. That's
so they were done dirt cheap, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And then, I mean, if you get back to black, that's when you can. That's the best.
Sack
with
the money.
That's the best I could do on the fly with AC/DC lyrics.
Hell's bells. I guess you have to move on. No, but with the Epstein file, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. If there's any juice left in that grape, see what I did?
And you
tied it all together. If there was any juice left in that grape, it would be squoze by now. But there's nothing there. There's nothing There's nothing to put forward. There's no big out. There's no secret gotcha file that's sitting on her back credenza. And that is not a euphemism. I'm sure that Pam Bondi has a credenza right behind her desk, and there's nothing there.
The allegations first surfaced in 1996. If something had been done then, how many young women and girls' lives could have been saved? And
they don't care.
And honestly, I mean, for 3 decades, American foreign policy in so many other countries, I feel, has been completely. They've gone through the Epstein filter, unfortunately. And I think that is the answer to a lot of votes and a lot of policies in the last 30 years.
I wonder if it had any effect. Remember back in the 90s when Putin went after the fall of the Soviet Union, Putin goes to Clinton.
Yeah, let me join NATO.
Let you join NATO. Clinton's like, I got to go ask the rest of the club members. I can't just okey dokey that for you. Mm-hmm. And he goes and comes back. Yeah, they said no.
They said no. Yep, that's right.
Sorry about that. I wonder if that had any connection to the Epstein files. That would be a biggie.
Yep,
that would be huge.
So before you say there's nothing in the files, it's more like nothing has been pursued. How about that?
Yes.
You could if you wanted to.
If they wanted to, they would have by now, but they don't want to, so they won't.
Well, sir, I'm going to bid adieu to you, and I hope to see you on Friday for the Friday live stream. Rebecca will be here, by all counts. Kelly will not be, because remember her son's doing he's trying out for
oh, that's right.
For the Hunger Games.
Yes, he's going to go be in the Hunger Games.
So
right, well, then I shall bid you adieu as well. And
love you. Bye.
I love you more.
I already miss you. Okay, see you. Bye, Brad.
I might be back.
Okay.
One never knows.
Okay, I'll pull you down here and I'll keep an eye out on your screen there. Yeah, I'm going to get to my guest now. Nurse Kimberly Overton. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, Keith.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. Tangled up in earbuds and all sorts of stuff here. So just bear with me here. This is the first time I've gone to a guest and still been connected to Brad's show. So, okay, there we go. Much better. Okay, so let me kind of establish who you are, what you do, and thanks for making time. And if I get something wrong, jump in here, interrupt me, please.
I sure will.
The way I learned about you is through our mutual friend, Rebecca, who is here every Friday. Well, every Friday that the new baby lets her be on here, I should say. So, which isn't every Friday, but she does what she can. And she was telling me about some incredible stuff that you're doing, and I definitely want to spend some time talking about that. But first, let's establish, your background, and what led you to where you are today, and let me, I made a fancy graphic for you. And Kimberly, I want to get this up here, and you tell me if I have anything wrong here. Let's see. No, that's not it. I made a graphic. Where is it? There it is. All right, I was hang on. Let's see. Boom. nursefreedom.org.
Yep.
And your Substack is substack.com/@nursefreedomnetwork. Did I get that?
No, but it's okay. It's close. So it's nursefreedomnetwork.substack.com.
Okay.
And the Nurse Freedom Network site is good, but I would put up the Remnant Healthcare. That's kind of what we do more of now and where we do more of our advocacy work at. But
okay, hang on. Now we're going to get this right. We're not going to just half-ass this here. nursefreedomnetwork.substack.com, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And what's the website again?
remnanthealthcare.org.
See, I'm a bad producer. Let's see. remnanthealthcare.org. Okay.
If I didn't have so many things going on, you're right. I mean,
no, you're right. So here we go. Does that remnanthealthcare.org?
Yep.
Nurse Freedom. Okay, now I'm gonna clean that up a little bit here because I want to put a little space between the two because my OCD won't allow that to just be out there like so. There we go. Oh yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Right. There we go. All right. So Kimberly Overton, I was introduced to you through Rebecca. You, correct me if I'm wrong, you are a nurse in Nashville, Tennessee.
That's correct. Yes.
I got that right. And they didn't screw that up. Apparently you're in a band of some sort as well. That looks like fun back there.
Yeah, not so much anymore, but
Oh,
I
do you
can
play all of those instruments back there?
I can play the saxophone mediocre,
Mhm.
but I try my hands at all of them.
Okay. All right. Well, very cool. Well, look, at some point, if my questions get kind of absurd or whatever, just, start playing on the saxophone or something for us there.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk to you. I want you to take us through 2020, because a lot of people, it's shameful that era, as horrific as it was in the United States and worldwide, but particularly the United States, for various reasons. Most people, it just seems like they just want to move on. We don't even have to talk about it. There's been nobody held accountable. Nobody that made these horrific decisions and these policy decisions. Nobody. And this is a life or death situation in so many respects. And I want to hear from your perspective as a nurse working at a hospital during that time. And please just walk us through what your life was like before COVID became a thing, and then once it did become a thing. This is something we need to revisit.
Yeah. So before COVID, I've been saying this a lot lately. I was living my best life, right? I was working as a nurse. I was just kind of loving every bit of it. I've been in healthcare for this is my 30th year in healthcare. I hate to say that because it's kind of dating a little bit, but this is my 30th year in healthcare. I had worked, my lifelong dream was to become a registered nurse. I went back to school later in life I worked as a medical assistant for many years. And then I went back to school when I was about 35. And I finally pursued that lifelong dream of becoming a registered nurse. Before COVID, I was living my best life. I was living my passion and my dream of being a nurse every single day. And 2020 comes and everything changes. Everything changes. Like I said, I'd been in healthcare for nearly 30 years at that time. And I started to see things that were happening that really didn't make any sense to me. Policies that we have long adhered to in healthcare started to kind of go out the window. Like we weren't paying attention to these things anymore. One of the biggest ones that I noticed was infection control, right? So prior to COVID, we would not be able to wear the same N95 mask for days on end, literally days on end. They would give them to us to wear for 3 shifts. We would wear them the entire 12-hour shift. We would wear them in the rooms with our COVID patients. We would wear them into the rooms with our non-COVID patients. That's not something that would ever happen prior to COVID. I mean, we're essentially spreading it all over the place. Right? People, for some reason, thought that, it's a COVID unit and it's only COVID. That isn't true. I worked in a 20-bed ICU at the time, and it was not only COVID patients. By the time we got done going into their rooms, it was, unfortunately. Right. No. But it was things like that just didn't make any sense to me. I started asking a lot of questions. Another thing that really had me asking questions was, everybody is coming in with COVID and they're not getting better despite all of our best efforts. They're not getting any better. And we're using this medication, remdesivir. If you understand that it's an antiviral medication, when you use an antiviral medication, you have a certain amount of time frame that you need to get that, because viral replication occurs usually between days 7 and 9. After that, you're not replicating. That antiviral medication is not going to work anymore, right? It's not going to be effective at treating COVID or any other virus. So by the time that these patients were getting to us in the ICU, they were well past their replication phase, clearly into their symptomatic phase. And I started asking the question, like, why are we continuing to use this medication? Because it was clearly doing more harm than good. What we saw happening was we saw this medication shutting down people's organs.
It just, that was supposed to be a solution.
It was supposed to be the solution.
It was creating a whole new set of problems.
Right.
And go ahead.
If you look back and you think about that time during 2020, at the height of the pandemic, where was everybody dying? Nobody was dying at home.
That is so important.
Nobody was dying. If you think about our homeless population that didn't have access to any kind of treatment, We weren't pulling bodies off of the streets. No, the only place anyone was dying was in the hospitals. And that was the biggest thing that I would just scream to everybody who would listen is it's not COVID that is killing millions of people. It is the treatment. It is the protocols.
And same in Africa.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the numbers around the globe, they weren't going through state-of-the-art healthcare procedures, and yet their death rate was much lower there. And you mentioned the N95 mask. You know what I should have had ready for this show today is it's not even laughable. It is absolutely depressing to think of how the healthcare authorities in the land, they would constantly say, well, you got to wear a mask. Like you just said, the same mask for how many hours from patient to patient. But there's videos that circulated of not the N95 mask, but the stupid blue ones there. Yeah. And they're being manufactured literally, I'm not exaggerating, literally on the floor of a sweatshop in a third world country over in India or somewhere like that. And their bare feet are all over these masks. And these were supposedly our savior during this pandemic. It just insult me more. And don't even get me started, which we will get down the road of the vaccine here. But
it says right on the box, Keith, it says right on the box that it does not prevent transmission of virus. And all you have to do is Google the size of the virus and then look at the material of the mask. All you're doing is putting a petri dish on your face, and you are breathing in all of these microbes and all this bacteria. And then we wonder, why people were so sick during that time.
Right. So in my job over at the Blaze, Pat Gray Unleashed show, I specifically remember holding up the box, showing the warning on camera. I also specifically remember showing the droplets of COVID and the mask and how you just said it fits right through. Boom. It might stop other stuff, but it wasn't stopping COVID.
No, not at all.
But from our vantage point, we were just, raving lunatics, broadcasting, saying, look at this, look at this. From your position as a healthcare professional, as frustrating as it was for us, I can't imagine you pointing this stuff out to those above you. What was their reaction when you would point out this kind of common sense?
Yeah, what was really infuriating to me was that how many things were happening, like the dumbest things. Like they would say that ibuprofen was contraindicated for COVID patients. That was like the go-to that we would always use. What they stopped doing was they stopped mitigating damage, right? They weren't using steroids. If they were using steroids, they were using them in such a small dose that it wasn't effective. So they stopped mitigating damage. And if you remember when patients would come into the ER and they would tell them to go home, they're like, well, you have COVID, you're fine, go home, come back when you can't breathe.
And you can't breathe. I can't point that out from your Substack article. That is come back when you're a cash cow.
Yes, exactly. Come back when you are a prime candidate for the ventilator, because a lot of times they wouldn't. I don't care how sick you were, if you didn't hit that number on the oxygen saturation level of, I think it was 88 or below, they would go home. I don't care how sick you were. When you were a candidate for the ventilator, come on. And it's like when they would test positive for COVID and they kind of fit all of those criteria, it was as if they had a bounty on their head, honestly, because depending on the state that you lived in, from test to toe tag, it was about close to $500,000 per COVID admission. When they put them on the ventilator, they got financially incentivized. If they kept that patient on the ventilator for 96 hours or more, that number went up.
So hold on. You have COVID. You go to the hospital. Mm-hmm. You now are worth, you represent income for that hospital, correct?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
And you're saying for each escalated level that patient is now worth more and more, correct?
That's correct. But in order for them to get this money that they had established, these funds, in order for them to get that money, they had to follow the protocol right to the T. So you had to use the remdesivir. You could not use things like vitamins and steroids. You had to go on the ventilator. All of these things, you had to follow it to the letter, or you were not going to get that money. The remdesivir, that was my big question as well. I mean, it was a very costly medication, and at the time, it was being used under an emergency use authorization. And I think if you had led with the fact that if you go back to the Ebola trials in 2008, if you went back to those and you looked at the fact that 54% of those study participants died, I feel like if they had led with that, nobody would have been signing on the dotted line to get that medication. But so my bigger question was, why are we using this? Again, it's already too late. They're already past their viral replication phase. They're well into their symptomatic phase. So it's already not going to be effective. We know that it is causing a decrease in renal function, an increase in mortality. And oh, Lord help me. I get so mad. I get so mad. I get triggered. I get triggered. My PTSD comes back. I just get so angry.
You live this nightmare every day. And I do want to talk about some of the experiences you had along the way because they're heartbreaking. Some of the experiences you had with patients and you would still show up to work every day. But let me ask you this here, because I want to point out, Kara approved, encouraged, and legitimized population control. I mean, I think that says it well. Yeah. What I wanted to do, I'm going to go back to where you first said, I want to become a nurse, or I want to first get into healthcare. How old were you when you said this is the path that I want to pursue?
When I first decided I wanted to be a nurse, I was 2. I was 2 years old.
That
was all I ever wanted to do. I got into it. I was 19. I got into healthcare at 19 years old.
So, all right. So there you go. So for quite a while, this was your passion, taking care of people, helping people, the healthcare industry, leading to where you're a nurse at a hospital in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
What happened during that era of COVID? What were you going through mentally, thinking? And I want you to just to tell us what, because you have spent decades helping people, and now all of a sudden you're helping them to lead. You're helping lead them to this conclusion of death. And I'm not accusing you of that. Obviously, I'm just saying that you're a part of this system that is doing this to them.
Yeah.
What kind of internal battle were you going through?
It was horrifying, and that's why I ended up leaving my job at the bedside, because I could not do it anymore. My heart couldn't take it. I was so burdened by the fact that we were watching these people die, and not only were we watching them die, but we were part of their fate. I mean, when we would, the most egregious thing that I saw happening, Keith, in there was the early intubation debacle. Okay, they started intubating patients that were not in distress. They started doing that. If you understand, with a ventilator, it's a closed loop system. Once you place the patient on the ventilator, the virus is no longer disseminated into the air, right? So they said that their reasoning was to stop transmission and protect the healthcare workers.
Okay,
the virus we'd already been exposed to, by the way.
Right,
but they did this knowing that there was I believe it was 80% chance that the patient we put on that ventilator was never going to come off of it. And they did it anyway. They did it when they were not in distress. And that to me was the most horrifying part of it. And that's when I knew I couldn't stay silent. I knew I had to start speaking up and speaking out about what was happening. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I ended up leaving the bedside and going and doing telephone triage nursing from home. I thought that would be a little bit of a better option. It turned out I ended up having to leave that as well because, not so much.
So I have so many questions, and I'm just kind of scattered here because, like you said, I'm triggered. I'm so angry. Yeah. It's like we went through that era. And I just recall being so frustrated with everything. And yeah, I wasn't dealing with this death and destruction on a daily basis like you. I can't imagine the internal struggle, like you said. What were your fellow nurses? What were they? Were you guys talking in the break room, in the hallways? Was it just be a good little soldier? Like, what was the conversation like behind the scenes?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think there were a lot of nurses that had questions. There were not, and they would say them quietly. They would say, "Well, we agree with you, but I've got a job, I've got a family, I've got a mortgage. I have all those things too, but I can never imagine putting a paycheck above a human life." But if you remember during COVID, they were throwing down all kinds of incentives for nurses, travel nurses specifically. I was an ICU nurse. I can remember getting offers to go to Texas, to go to New York City, where all of these COVID hotspots, and these were paying like $10,000 a week. That's a lot of money for a nurse, right?
Oh, wow.
I call that hush money, because that's how they're keeping the nurses quiet. They're not going to turn, well, I mean, I did, but and a few people did, but a lot of them aren't going to turn down $10,000 a week for an ICU assignment. And I think that's how they were able to keep so many people quiet.
Where were these pots of cash originating? The taxpayers or big pharma or?
Yeah, who knows? Probably all of the above. Probably the same. Probably streaming in from the $500,000 per admission that they're getting on these patients.
Right. Tell us about when you were on the night shift and the 51-year-old woman who coded repeatedly. What happened there?
I will never forget this woman. And I still see this woman's face. I will get emotional when I'm sorry. I still see this woman's eyes in my face all of these years later. She was 51 years old. She was a reasonably healthy woman. I think she maybe had, she was a little bit overweight, but other than that, she didn't have any other, illnesses or anything like that. But she was really struggling with COVID. And they kept on pushing. They kept on pushing for us to talk to the family because she kept coding. And they said, you have to make her a DNR. The family didn't want to. They wanted her to be a full code. And I can remember the last time the alarms were going off in that room. And I went in there, and this woman, she was on the ventilator, but she was awake. She was alert. And I'll never forget it. Like, her eyes locked onto mine. I saw one single tear just streaming down her face. Like, she knew what was happening. And it didn't matter, like, everything that we tried, every medication we pushed, every, compression that we did. We could not get this woman back, unfortunately. But it was this happening over and over again, that these people who are otherwise healthy, and I will tell you, I would say the majority of our sickest patients were otherwise healthy, middle-aged males. And to me, it felt very targeted.
So hang on a second. Middle-aged males.
Yeah. They did the worst. Absolute worst.
When you say targeted, do you mean the virus was almost DNA specific for them?
I have to wonder that. I don't know that for a fact, but
your anecdotal experience,
yeah.
you saw more middle-aged dudes in there than any other demographic.
I did. And to me, it felt intentional. I said, well, what are they doing? What are they trying to accomplish here? And to me, it seemed like they were trying to target and take out the protectors.
Wow. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So, and just point of clarification, are you saying that's who would get admitted into these, as you described them, hospital holocaust, or do you think it's something in the virus, or are you?
I thought it was something in the virus. Now, how they accomplished that, I don't know. I'm not a scientist in that realm, so I don't know. But I mean, it's enough.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting to me, and the patterns. I recognize patterns.
Yeah. Well, my goodness. Okay. Let me see where we're going to go next here. I want to talk about the vaccines, but I don't want to get there yet because we still have a lot to talk about with the hospital situation itself. That whole era, it's like all of the, and you alluded to it earlier with the ibuprofen, anything that had traditionally been a solution, it's almost like the Men in Black memory hold it, where it's like medicine started over in 2020.
It did.
Took it back to the dark ages, and it should be I would think, pretty obvious to anybody that has just an ounce of common sense, I guess, is the word I'm looking for here. Intellectual honesty. It should be pretty obvious, I think, that and the phrase "follow the money" is applicable in all things. In all things. And it applied here. And the fact that nobody has been held accountable. Nobody.
That's the most frustrating part. Nobody's been held to account for what's happened. Everybody's ready to move on, but we're still sitting here. Many of us, those of us who lived through this, who watched this, it's too much. We want to see people held to account. Anthony Fauci, all of them, we want to see them held to account. But it's back to your question about, I would ask the doctors and I would say, why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense. And the only answer you would ever get from the doctors is, well, it's protocol and my hands are tied. That's it.
It's absolutely horrific.
That's maddening to me.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. The hospital situation was horrific. And let me just time out for a moment here. Countless, and I mean countless people in the last 5-6 years have been in my DMs telling me about their own personal nightmare or a family member, a loved one who died in the hospital from the maltreatment that they got during COVID, or it's a vaccine horror story. And again, if we weren't going to, and this is a point I've made before, if we weren't going to end up in the streets protesting vaccine mandates or the way that whole COVID era was handled, there's nothing that will get Americans in the streets. I'm convinced it'll never happen, because that was some of the most egregious stuff to do to a population. And yet there was hardly any pushback.
Yes, exactly. What else matters if you're not standing for bodily autonomy? What else matters after that? That's why I would get so mad at the nurses that wanted to go, march on DC for their salary being capped or all of these things, but they're not marching for bodily autonomy or informed consent or anything like that. I just don't understand what else matters.
Tell us about the pregnant nurse that.
Oh gosh, yeah. I had a nurse that I worked with. She had a young child at home, and she was pregnant again with her second. And they were pushing. I worked night shift. They would come around. The nurses would come around with their little box full of vaccines, and they would always, kind of lining us up to get our vaccine. And I would always just decline. I was like, I'm not interested. This particular nurse, she was not interested either. It was interesting because at first I wasn't even feeling that there was anything nefarious going on. It was just, to me, it was really quick. There wasn't a lot of, it was a newer technology. There wasn't a lot of science behind it. And I just didn't feel comfortable, and I wanted to wait. No, not necessarily thinking that it was anything like population control or anything like that. That hadn't even entered my mind yet.
Yeah.
But this young nurse, she was in her early 20s, and she did not want this vaccine at all. But they pretty much pressured her in, making it like it's your job. You get this vaccine or you're not going to have a job. Again, she has 2 young children at home, a young family that she needs to support. So I sat there and I watched her be forced to get this. She was like literally crying as they are injecting her. I mean, they may as well have held her down. She was beside herself. And all I could do was just pray for her in that moment and pray for that baby in that moment, that they would be okay. And to my knowledge, they're doing okay. So, I haven't heard anything otherwise. But I just remember watching her and that feeling of helplessness that she must have had, thinking I have to support my family. I'd like to think my son was grown by this point. I'd like to think I would have made all of the same choices, but I don't know.
Yeah. And that kind of scene was replicated in so many different lines of work and so many and I made the point that the leadership at the Blaze, thank God, were totally against any kind of vaccine mandate or any kind of forcing us to get that, and I would have absolutely walked. if I was in that position. And a lot of people couldn't do that. I mean, they've got bills to pay, and I understand that. So my question then, how were you able to bypass that? With just seniority or what?
No. So I ended up leaving my job. So before they had started, at first, the vaccine mandates kind of started hitting your like nonprofit facilities first. I worked for, I don't care, I'll say who I worked for. I worked for HCA, which is one of the largest hospital corporations in the country. They were one of the last ones to start really implementing the mandates. They were like kind of strongly encouraging for a long time, but I ended up leaving before they were actually mandating them. By the time that they started mandating them, I was working from home at that point. I started doing telephone triage nursing. Okay. And that was a good alternative for a while, but then I started becoming uncomfortable again with protocols. They wanted me to start recommending the vaccine for children. And not only that, but they wanted me to tout them as safe and effective, period. When we had no data, there was no way that we could even say that, but we literally had a scripted answer. If somebody were to call and say, is the vaccine safe? Is it effective? And we were supposed to say, yes, the vaccine is safe and effective, period. And I refused.
Yeah.
I started talking about things like natural immunity and all of the things.
For you.
I knew eventually that they were gonna come after me because all of my calls are recorded. But it got to be too much, because as I was taking these triage phone calls, I would get more and more phone calls from young 18, 20-year-old males having heart attacks, having strokes, have all of these things. And this was like not long after the vaccine rollout. So that was, I believe, December of 2020. So I started getting these phone calls. I called my supervisor and I was in tears. And I said, I know that you're listening to these calls. Are you not hearing the same things that I'm hearing? Are you not hearing these patients that are 18, 20, 30 years old having heart attacks, having strokes, GI bleeds, and populations you wouldn't expect to see them in, all of these crazy things? And to the point where I started keeping my own data. I would sit here at my desk and I would keep my own data about the types of symptoms I was seeing. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I absolutely am never going to recommend this vaccine.
Yeah.
And I just got to be too much for me. And I ended up quitting that job because I just couldn't be a part of any of it anymore. And it was not an easy decision to make. Certainly, I'm just a nurse. I am just a nurse. I don't have like disposable income by any means. But it was one of those and I should back up a little bit, because in between the ICU and when I started working from home, I did start the organization Nurse Freedom Network, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And we were advocating for medical freedom and informed consent. So we started, I just started with a sign and a bullhorn outside of local hospitals, just like me, a sign and a bullhorn. And I would go, I would try to get some local nurses to come. We'd had some small crowds. But we started building these advocacy teams around the country. It really quickly grew. Next thing you know, I was speaking out at events across the country. I was speaking at Defeat the Mandates in DC and LA and all of these things. So I'd already started that organization. And I decided when I quit my job, I was like, you know what? I just felt like I'm taking this giant leap of faith and I need to really go all in with what I'm doing with this advocacy and making people understand that there's a better way. I think one of the things that I found the most depressing about being an ICU nurse, and this is even pre-COVID, was how 85 to 90% of everything that walked through those doors is completely preventable lifestyle modifications. But the sick care system, as I call it, does nothing to keep anybody well. It doesn't. It manages symptoms and that's it. It doesn't do anything to get to the root cause, none of that. So I started to understand, beyond the advocacy, I wanted to create something where we were doing better for our patients and better for ourselves, that we could have the opportunity to get out of this broken and just corrupt system. So I started, I had a vision for that, and I started a private membership association, Remnant Healthcare, we're just over 3 years old now, but
Wow.
it started just as a vision. We're a private membership association. We grew very, very organically.
Look at that.
And we provide functional medicine consultations, homeopathy, more holistic modalities that are actually getting to the root cause and getting people well. Because I was tired of being part of this system that, again, just managed symptoms and did not truly take care of the whole person. These are patients that we're here to serve. This is not just, they're not just numbers and, patients in beds that we're just here to, pump through of pharmaceuticals and see you next time. This is not what we want to do.
Right.
So we started that organization, and it's been doing amazing things. We also provide professional advocacy services. So if you are in a situation like so many were during COVID, you now have a professional advocate that will go to bat for you, who knows how to navigate the system, the complexity of the system.
Right. Yes. I mean, it is so complicated. I mean, it's complicated to just get a health insurance provider on the phone.
Mhm.
And then to get to a satisfactory result, oh my gosh, that's like rolling the dice. So it does sound like what you offer there, and all that you're talking about is through remnanthealthcare.org, correct?
Yes, the Remnant Healthcare. So we are a private membership association. We did not take I never took any funding for the organization. I self-funded the startup with what little money I had left when I wrote my job, with what little was left. I kind of started all of that. I invested a little bit into that. And then I wanted to be self-sustainable, because I had some venture capitalists, no offense to any venture capitalists out there, but they were kind of swarming around and, trying to make offers to me. And I never wanted to take their money because, you don't know what their intentions are. They wanted to change the messaging. They want I didn't want a carbon copy of the already broken system. I wanted to make something completely different. So I thought that the only way to do that was to grow organically and to just keep it, keep 100% control of it. So we are, it's $30 a month to become a member. Yeah. So it's very affordable.
That's awesome. $30 a month. And I love how you said there, what was it? 85-90% of the stuff that brings people through the doors of a medical facility could be preventable.
Exactly. Or if we just stopped. I mean, they put every patient on a statin, right? We know that this is causing all kinds of problems, whether that be early onset dementia or, all of the things that our brains need cholesterol, people. They're literally made up of cholesterol. So that is a big one for me, is they have every patient on a statin. They have every patient on a blood pressure medication, or, whatever the pharmaceutical product may be that's causing all of these other problems. But don't worry, they've got a pill for that one too.
Right. Oh my goodness. I tell you, can I just say, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. This is not medical advice, but I want to thank, oh gosh. Oh shoot. Was it Sean? Was it you? One of the individuals who watched this show suggested, and I want to go on the record as saying this has worked for me. I was taking, for blood pressure, losartan and then lisinopril, or I might be getting the order mixed up there. And he mentioned to me that beetroot gummies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beetroot gummies.
Beets are superfoods. But you know what's really interesting? This is something that I used to say all the time to people. Grapefruit. They'll tell you as a nurse, they will tell you, make sure that your patient doesn't eat grapefruit if they're on this blood pressure medication, because it could bottom out, because the grapefruit lowers blood pressure. And I said, well, why don't we just have them eat the grapefruit? Seems simple enough.
Incredible. Yeah. But I wanted to go on the record as saying that for about 8 months now, I have not taken any blood pressure.
Hey, good for you.
And I just take the beetroot gummies. Mm-hmm. And I was actually at the doctor this morning, and everywhere I go, this is interesting. I think this is fascinating. I think this says a lot. For the last 8 months, and again, it could be luck of the draw, the different provider, different nurses that come in and check your blood pressure. But it seems like, because they always ask, are you on any medications, anything changed, what have you? And sometimes when I've mentioned the beetroot gummies, especially 8 months ago, it was like, huh? Okay. And today, just today, and the last couple of times that I've mentioned that, they go, you know what? That's not a bad idea, or something like they're very receptive, even if they don't know. Like today, the chick today was like all about it.
Yeah.
The last couple of times they were receptive to it. And then when they check your blood pressure and they see that after hearing that you had high blood pressure and 8 months ago you switched to this, they go, holy crap. Anyway, I'm just telling you, it works for me. And I love that grapefruit information there as well.
Yeah, grapefruit is great. But I always tell people, there's always a better way. We really like to focus on deprescribing and getting people off of these pharmaceuticals. They all have side effects. They're awful. I mean, they're just awful. I don't take a single thing, pharmaceutical, nothing.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you
longer.
This is going to be selfish question number 2 here. I take one drug, and so my dad died of esophageal cancer, and thank you. And I take epramidazole, something like that. I don't know.
Omeprazole.
Omeprazole. Yeah,
That's a terrible drug. We need to work to get you off of that.
Hey, that's what I want to ask you.
Come see me. Horrible drug.
Right, because that's the only drug that I take.
Mm-hmm.
But when I try to wean myself off of it, I've tried licorice, I tried whatever. I would love any kind of feedback, all natural suggestion. But whenever I stop taking that, I feel that bile and it's just bad. And I need a solution.
What we have to do instead of masking the symptoms, because all you're doing is masking your symptoms. You're not getting to the root cause of what is causing your reflux.
Mm-hmm.
So what you need to do is we need to dig in. You need a good functional medicine consultation, figure out why you're having this, find that root cause, and eradicate it, versus giving you this medication that, again, is going to have so many side effects. That drug is horrible. Do some research on that, and I think you will find that you don't want to.
I'm going to get Alzheimer's, aren't I?
I will tell you that years ago, before I was really awakened to all of this, I was on omeprazole for years. And I've taken myself off of everything. I would not stay on that medication.
So this is the kind of information I'll get for $30 a month, I bet, at remnanthealthcare.org, right? I've had, at some point, I will detail for the audience some really bad memory issues that I've had lately. And I can't help but think in the back of my mind, I bet it's that damn epramidazole.
It could be. It could very well be. I mean, there is a lot of studies that are linking that to Alzheimer's and dementia. So. Yeah, I would definitely take a good look at that. And I won't give anybody recommendations without doing a full, history and digging in and doing all of that. But I will say it's always a good bet. The less pharmaceutical products, you can be honest, your best bet.
Yeah.
There's typically, for whatever synthetic product there's a natural alternative.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I'm a
big believer. God gave us everything that we need.
Right. Okay. So I'll definitely look into that, see if there's a better solution. Okay. So let's talk about the damage done to the healthcare industry. But that's the thing. Nobody's being held accountable, but yet none of us trust doctors anymore.
Right. Which is a good thing, I feel like, because for too long, people have just implicitly trusted the medical system. So to me, it's a good thing. And I have tried to, kind of calm down with my rhetoric a little bit. When I first came out, I was just blazing. I was like, burn it to the ground, burn it to the ground. I've tried to soften my rhetoric a little. But it's true. I really feel like, there's so many people that need to be into that system. Unfortunately, they don't have a way out, whether that's, financial or whatever it is. But if we continue to build alternatives, that parallel system alongside of it, it's the problem is not that the standard of care is not being met at these facilities. It's the problem is that the standard of care in this country is so disgustingly low. And there's no alternative. There's nowhere else to go. So if we continue to build these alternative models of care, they're going to have no choice, right? But to be held to account, and they're going to have to raise their standards in order to compete.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Right now, there's nowhere for anybody to go. So we're working on changing that. And that's why my functional medicine is not is not historically affordable. I made sure that we kept our prices at Remnant Healthcare for our functional medicine consultations. They're extremely affordable if you compare them to others, because I want this to be accessible. I want everybody to have the opportunity to have health and wellness. It's not just something that should be for those with financial means.
Good for
We
you.
all have a right to be healthy.
So have you, whether it was the COVID protocols and the masks and the insanity, or it was the mandates for the vaccine and the fallout from that, anybody that was kind of adversarial to you, whether it was a fellow nurse or a doctor that you worked with or a hospital administrator, anybody from 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, come back to you in recent years and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I doubted you. You were absolutely right on everything." Has anyone done that?
I think I can count 2. I had 2 that came back and said, I'm sorry, you were right. And I get it. It takes a lot to come back. So I commend them and I give them a lot of credit for being able to admit that they were wrong, because that's hard for people. Most people just don't say anything at all. I can tell you that I had so many of my friends were nurses, and I've been in this field for a long time, and it's just like all of a sudden people stopped talking to me. My nurse friends, they didn't come out and say anything against me, but I just stopped hearing from them all of a sudden.
And no offense, but you're probably a reminder, just seeing you, a reminder of how blind they were to their own best interest. And I can't, like, okay, for example, all right, I'm stressing over here about a pill that I take to keep heartburn down, right? I cannot imagine. I know there are people watching this, listening right now, that got the vaccine, whether they wanted to or not, that if I had taken that shot, I swear every little thing that happens to me, I would somehow feel is connected to that. I couldn't live with that kind of stress, that mental burden. Are you seeing a lot of that? A lot of people come to you through remnanthealthcare.org talking about issues that they're having that or they think are traced back to that?
Yeah, we do. We have, a lot of people ended up getting these subsequent medical diagnoses, whether that be like a cancer, a turbo cancer, or they just kept getting infections that they would never, bacterial infections repeatedly, things like that, because we're destroying immune systems is what's happening. So we've seen a lot of that. We've actually had a lot of long COVID, but long COVID, not in all cases, but in most cases, is vaccine injury.
Yeah.
And I want to point this out because it's important. When we started seeing a lot of patients filling up our ICU, that they would say, "Oh, it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated." Well, if you remember when they first came out with the vaccine, you had to be 14 days post your second shot before you were considered vaccinated. There's no category for partially vaccinated or anything like that. So these people that were filling up the hospitals, they had a dose of a vaccine or even 2 doses of a vaccine and then were hospitalized. So they would call that they would classify that as unvaccinated COVID, which is not the case. So I think it's really important to remind people of that, that there was that.
They changed the definitions of everything.
Of everything. No, everything. They kept moving the goalpost. It's supposed to be effective for however many days. Oh, it's not really effective at all. So, I mean, what kind of vaccine and have you ever remembered that needed 14 boosters? I think we're up to 14 boosters.
I don't even look at that. Incredible. And Denise, I'm very sorry of your situation. It says in the comments, she lives that stress, facing a problem with her husband.
Denise, reach out to me. We can help you. We have an incredible, we're having a lot of success. I was just going to start talking about this, but you can send me an email. It's Kimberly@nursefreedomnetwork.org, and I'm happy to connect with you and help you. We have a homeopathic detox protocol that we are using, and we're seeing great success with it, almost 85 to 90% symptom reduction in many cases. Oh. And what's interesting about it is we're doing that in collaboration. It's a case study in collaboration with, it's called getdetoxed.us. And we have an incredible package. There's actually a lab test that you can take now that shows the spike protein circulating in the blood on the red blood cells. After 8 weeks on this protocol, when they did the repeat test, they found no evidence. It was completely eradicated. So, and the symptom reduction. So we're seeing incredible results. And I'll send you the link to that as well, Keith, if you'd like.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll post that. Kimberly at nursefreedomnetwork.org. If people want to contact you. Okay. I tell you, the first do no harm. I mean, that was thrown out the window, right? I mean, that was completely ignored.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, as I was talking about, has anybody come back to you and said, "Oh my gosh, Kimberly, you were totally right. I just happened to see this earlier this week." And it's an op-ed in the New Zealand Herald. Here's the headline. Don't get too excited, y'all. Do we owe our COVID conspiracy friends an apology? Now, when you read into this, it's not somebody saying, "Oh my gosh, they were totally right." I mean, there is a little bit of that in there, but it talks about how the government cabinet was just overwhelmed with so much information that's probably what it was. They were just sloppy because they just had too much information on the ministers' desks before they made these big decisions for the nation, and so on and so forth. It's not a full-throated, "You guys nailed it. That's on us." It's more of a, "All right, I guess you were kind of right, but I don't blame the government. I don't blame the authorities." It's a half-ass attempt at.
Yeah, I could give a little bit of grace in the beginning, especially with the shots in the beginning. Listen, we had a lot going on, a lot of information coming at us, at our leaders or whatever. And I'm a big Trump supporter, but at the same time, please stop with the vaccines, pull the vaccines, or just admit that you were wrong. One of the other, just that's the only thing that just it's just maddening to me.
Yep.
That is the one thing. And I just, I believe in calling people out on,
Absolutely.
they're wrong. When you're wrong, you're wrong, and
Operation Warp Speed was
it was an utter failure. And I want him to own that,
Oh yeah, exactly. And it'll never happen. And what really sucks, what is so wild is when you look at, and I never retweeted anything like this because I didn't want to pile on. But one of the things that you would see, someone on Twitter would post something about their child suffering. Hell, you remember the girl who was part of the clinical trials that Ron Johnson has had up in D.C. on multiple occasions?
Oh, Maddie.
Maddie, yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, but I saw multiple occasions, and where someone either was suffering from myocarditis or something along those lines, or they had a child that died unexpectedly and it was a strange thing, they had a stroke or something like that. You go back and you look for their tweets from when Trump was president, and they should have stuck with their instincts. I'll never give my child this. I'll never take the Trump shot, the COVID vaccine, the Trump blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then something slipped, and it was so I can't think of another way to describe it other than just absolute insanity.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden on January 20th, 2021, now they're rolling up their sleeves for this shit. Yep. I can't understand that mindset. And you never wanted to go back and go, "Hey, is this you?" But I saw it multiple times. Yeah. And to see op-eds like this, they still can't fully be like, "Sorry, you were right, we were wrong." And I don't think that Nurse Kimberly from Nurse Freedom Network is saying that you don't want credit for this kind. It's not a bragging thing. It's can we just have an honest conversation and deal with facts here? Yeah. Because this shit's gonna happen again with some other virus, some other government control, and some other half-baked vaccine. And people are going to fall for it again or be forced into it again because there's never been. We don't need people admitting this shit. what we need people to do is admit it, so that and hold people accountable that made these decisions, so this doesn't happen again, because it's going to, and we all know it.
And the problem is it's not, the problem isn't even the tyrants. Like, tyranny's existed forever. It's the people that are bowing down to the tyrants, that are not standing up. You're the problem. The tyrants are always going to be there. They've always been there. But we as a people, we have the power. And that's what really, it just frustrated me from the very beginning. When I started Nurse Freedom Network, I thought to myself, okay, I'm building this platform, and all of the nurses are going to come, and we are going to stop this. And I'm looking around, and I don't see that many nurses coming. They're like little bits here and there. And I'm just, my mind is blown. And the problem is, we had the power and the numbers early on as nurses to stop this, and we didn't. As a profession, we failed. We could have done so much more. But I think, we've had the numbers to right the ship, but too many people lack the courage. And that's why I continue to speak out. I hope that I can inspire and encourage others to do the same. And I will continue doing that until my dying breath. I mean, this is definitely the hill I will be dying on. I can tell you that right now.
Good for you. Well, okay. So the nurses that had the numbers and could have said something and spoken out en masse, they were too busy making TikTok dance videos.
Yeah,
was what they were doing with their free time, which was still to this day is some of the most embarrassing, cringe stuff ever.
It really is, to the profession. I mean, and you've seen the nursing profession lately, if you're paying attention, has really taken a hit when we have, nurses claiming their authority as a nurse and wishing statistical injury on Carolyn Levitt. I mean,
right.
Awful. And I kind of led a little charge on that, trying to get her license removed, because I mean, we don't need people like that in this profession.
Yeah. Oh, right. I know exactly what you're talking about. The nurse that did that. Yeah, I say that I think that the COVID era capitulation by so many people. I think one generation. Let's say you have the baby boomer generation that is so used to just trusting authority. You can't homeschool your kids unless you have a teaching degree. You can't go against doctor's orders unless you have a medical license. And I think that kind of mindset locked many of them in. But then I think you have younger generations that have been conditioned to trust the government for everything.
Yeah.
And so they were locked into that. Then you've got even younger generation that just trusts celebrities and whatever the hell they say. So I think each generation had their own, and of course all of those, whether it was Hollywood, whether it was the government, whether it was the medical professionals, all combined forces to just control the entire population. It's great.
It really was. And it was really interesting to see. And, a good example when we look at the most absurd thing I saw out of all of the absurdities was the one-way arrows in the grocery store. You remember that?
Oh, yes. Yes.
What is happening? I can remember looking at people. Here I am, just maskless. I'm not wearing a mask. I didn't mask in the community. None of that. And I'm intentionally walking the wrong way. And I'm just looking at them. I'm like, what is this supposed to do? But the way that people were doing, I'm like, how do they not see it? Yeah. It was as if, I think there's a study or something. I think it's about 30%, maybe a little bit less of the population will never fall under that mass formation psychosis. But it's interesting. The higher your education level, the more likely you are to fall into that mass formation psychosis. So that's why doctors and I feel like more nurses were seeing and awake and aware to what was happening than doctors were, because that level of indoctrination gets higher the more educated you are.
Interesting. Yeah. And don't forget, I mean, the virus apparently spreads at the beach, out in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, if you're in the Pacific Ocean.
In your own car, by yourself.
By yourself. If you sit down in the restaurant, though, so like if you're walking through
it has a little.
But if you sit down, apparently COVID stays up in the rafters or something.
Yeah,
it's
maddening.
It just remembering this stuff. It's just what they did to childhoods and kids' school. And
the fear. You should see the anxiety that these younger generations have. I I'll never forget it. I had a patient when I was on the triage line that called, and he was so scared because his boss had COVID, and he talked to him on the phone.
Oh,
and he thought I was like, I'm sorry, what?
no, no.
He was that afraid. He was like, could it come through the phone line? And I was like,
It's
maddening.
we're surrounded.
But they're so scared. Whenever I see a young person out there with like a mask on, or it just really upsets me, and it makes me so sad for the future.
Because if they're not terrified of a virus, they're terrified of the environment crisscrossing because of global warming or something.
This is no way to live. This is no way to live life. We're not meant to live in a spirit of fear like this. Absolutely not.
I learned over the weekend that 3 sitting members of Congress have called for the pulling of the COVID-19 shots. That would be Thomas Massey, Ron Johnson, and Chip Roy.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're ever going to see this poison taken away from even having the option to inject those into our veins?
Right. I really don't know at this point. I honestly, I can't believe, I'm floored that they're still on the market. And I've been saying this for years now, because I've been screaming this for 3, 4, 6. I want to say 3 years, but it's actually been more like 5 or 6 years now. I can't believe it's been that long. And I'm just completely floored that they are still on the market and still available. I don't know. I would like to see them come off, but at this point, I just don't know. And my only goal is to educate and empower people to make better choices. And please take a look at the entire vaccine schedule, because it's not just COVID vaccines. I want to really listen. I came into this fight. I did not come into the fight anti-vax at all.
Right.
I didn't. I was pro-vaccine my entire life, my entire nursing career. I administered vaccines. I encouraged vaccines. And my child had received all of his. But once your eyes are opened to the corruption and the things, you start taking a closer look. I was horrified by what I found when I took a look at all of the vaccines and all of the injuries and the children. And that's something I really struggle with, because when I think about all of the children I've vaccinated over the years, how many of those children did I injure because of my blind ignorance? Because the truth is that the only thing we learn as nurses about vaccines is safe, effective, and necessary. And that is it. And here's the vaccine schedule.
Yep.
That's all they teach us. And doctors receive a little more training than that. So really, really do your research and take a look. I can tell you right now, like I said, I didn't come into the fight anti-vax. I am sure as hell leaving that way.
Yeah.
I will never take, administer, or encourage another vaccine as long as I live. So
I'm with you 100%. And in my opinion, doesn't hold nearly the weight that a medical professional's opinion does. But I will just say from my own experience, if you look at Keith from 20 years ago, I'll say vaccine ignorant, just like, got to get your vaccine, right? And on the eve of COVID-19, I'll say I was already vaccine cautious. But on the other side of the COVID-19 vaccine, I'm like you. I am anti-vax, and I'm looking so forward to having a doctor on in April. I forget the date, but coming up in April, there will be a conversation with a doctor about vaccines, and we will get all of this stuff laid bare, and we'll have that conversation. It's interesting you bring up other vaccines, because I have one last thing here, and it is it's a quick little thing about this year's flu vaccine only being 25% effective, they say. Now, also in this, I think it's a press release here, it says the cumulative incidence of influenza was similar for the vaccinated and unvaccinated states early, but over time, the cumulative incidence of influenza increased more rapidly among the vaccinated than the unvaccinated. In other words, people that got vaccinated were getting the flu this season more than they chose not to roll up their sleeve.
Right, because you got the flu vaccine, and then take that and all that cumulative toxin that you're putting in with the COVID boosters, 14, 15, whatever number they're up to now. And like I alluded to earlier, they are completely destroying immune system. So yeah, people are going to get sicker. Interestingly enough, I'm not vaccinated. I worked in the ICU directly caring for COVID patients. And I'm talking about at the very height of the pandemic. And it took me 2.5 years to get COVID. 2.5. I got COVID at CPAC.
Oh, wow.
I didn't get it at the hospital. I went to CPAC in Dallas, Texas, and I came back with COVID.
Oh, no. Our bad.
Yeah, that's where we were in Dallas.
Hold on a second. What time of year was that CPAC?
It was in August of 2022, I believe.
Okay, then I'm not going to, because I was at that CPAC too. It's the only CPAC I've ever been to. And I just walked around that place just to see what it was like. And I was gone in half an hour. But I just wondered because I got COVID twice, but it wasn't that time frame. So never mind. Okay, I was about to blame CPAC for my.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. I was starting around. Like, did they spray something in there? Just, those evil conservatives, or who knows?
Nothing is beyond belief at this.
I just found it. I found it really, really interesting. And little side note to that. And I'm sure Dr. Peter McCullough, who absolutely adore. He's out there in Dallas, and when I called him, I had dinner with him the night before, and I called him the next morning, and I said, Doc, I got COVID. He said, well, you were just fine. I said, I'm not fine anymore. I have COVID. And this man, he is so incredible. He actually came and picked me up at my hotel. He took me to his home. He set me up in his guest room, and he treated my COVID with ivermectin and all of the things, vitamin D. He threw everything in the kitchen sink at it. This man is amazing. He took such great care of me, and I was better in about 48 hours.
That's awesome. Can I just say, for the record, not that anyone asked, I take ivermectin every day now. That's just part of my vitamins and stuff, just keep that in my system. I used to take it just whenever I started to feel sick.
Yeah.
But now I just take it every day. Why not? It's over the counter now in Texas. So I just have it on hand.
Oh, and I will mention that because I sometimes forget to mention that we do also have ivermectin available. We have ivermectin and fenbendazole. We use the cancer protocols for ivermectin and fenbendazole, but we have ivermectin available as well. Because unfortunately, it's not available everywhere over the counter. But we let it go to our members at our cost, so it's less than $1 a pill, and that includes shipping. So if anybody is in need of ivermectin, we do have that available to our members with a consultation.
Okay, that's awesome, and that's remnanthealthcare.org.
Yes.
And obviously, your blog there, nursefreedomnetwork.substack.com. Before we go, I just have to take a quick detour, again, selfishly, but at the same time, I don't want to leave Kara hanging because she asked a good question as it relates to me, as a matter of fact. That's why I had trouble with the verbiage earlier. I was on the first one there, espermanazole. And then they changed it to, say it.
Omeprazole, yeah.
Okay, so which one's worse?
From what I don't think either of them are good.
Okay.
I will say that, to be fair, I don't think either of them are good. I've heard more negative things about the omeprazole than I have about the but that's not to say that the other is much better. Yeah. It's just that I've heard worse things about the omeprazole. But I would, again, if you're having to take any kind of medication, take a look, get it, whether you come to us or go somewhere else. Just go to get a functional medicine. Do not go to a regular conventional doctor. They are not going to help you. All they know how to do is go to the prescription pad. So get a good functional medicine consultation. Again, whether that's our organization or another, get that and get off these medications, because there is truly a better way, and you will feel so much better once you get off and free yourself from that pharmaceutical, it's a prison, really, honestly.
Yeah, right. One last question for you here. Mainstream doctors, mainstream medical, on a scale of 0 to 100, what percentage of the time do you find yourself trusting medical professionals anymore?
So 0 being not at all, and 100 being like I trust them 100%. 0.0.
There you go. So the solution is remnanthealthcare.org, $30 a month. And what all do you get for that?
So the $30 a month gives you access. That's actually how we are able to operate. So that's we're self-sustainable because, as I mentioned earlier, we don't take any funding, but that gives you access to our team of practitioners, and then our prices are very, very affordable. For consultation, you can get advocacy hours. You can get again the functional medicine consultation. Everything is super affordable. Our prices should be listed on the website. Another thing I want to mention really quickly before I go is if you're concerned about the blood supply, something we don't talk about too often. We've completely changed our blood supply in this country. And we partner with an organization. We've worked with Pure Blood Registry. We've worked with Blessed by His Blood, and we advocate for their members in order to get them clean, unvaccinated blood for transfusion, because now the American Red Cross is really, really pushing back against directed donations. But our advocates have a 100% success rate in advocating to get that clean, unvaccinated blood and that directed donation facilitated. So don't gotta go it alone. And it's
so important, because every time I go in for surgery in the last 5 years, they ask me about blood transfusions, and every time I say, my wife will be in the waiting room if I need blood. I'm not getting it from some rando bag you've got in the freezer.
And here's the thing is you don't necessarily know when this emergency situation is going to arise. That's why I tell everybody, have an advocacy plan in place. I always encourage people, get your membership. It's $30 a month. You could cancel it anytime. If you hate it, cancel it. It's not a big deal. Do one initial consultation so that we have all your information, so that when you have this situation where nobody thinks they need an advocate until they do. And then they're in this situation and you're already behind the 8 ball. If we get all of your information, your history, we've already established a rapport and a relationship with your practitioner. We are there and we are ready to go to bat for you if and when that emergency arises. So I highly encourage everybody to do that.
Excellent point. remnanthealthcare.org. Also nursefreedomnetwork.substack.com. Kimberly Overton, thank you so much for making time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Keith. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Absolutely.